Australia is on the front lines of an economic war with China, a totalitarian mercantilist regime that must be confronted, according to former Trump White House chief strategist Steve Bannon. In a wide-ranging interview on ABC's Four Corners, Bannon also said that the populist surge that swept Donald Trump to the US presidency and delivered the vote for Brexit in the UK was a global revolution that was coming to Australia. But his main focus was China, which he accused of failing to play by the global rules of trade and diplomacy, and was instead seeking to economically colonize as much of the world as it could. Steve Bannon plans foundation to fuel far-right in Europe. Read more. This is not a trade war, Australia is at the front lines of this. We're in an economic war with China, okay? Not a trade war, Bannon said. China has been, in a economic war with the West, and they are a totalitarian mercantilist system. They always talk about the international rules-based order. The Chinese don't play by any rules. They don't have any internal rules. It's a completely totalitarian regime. The former Breitbart media boss said China regarded the US and its allies such as Australia as tributary states, essentially vassal states that exist to serve and entrench the dominant power. He said the country was economically colonizing parts of the globe, such as the Pacific and Sub-Saharan Africa, like the East India Company. Bannon's interview with Four Corners took place before Malcolm Turnbull was removed as Australian Prime Minister by his own party. He said Turnbull had been too timid in standing up to Beijing. "I'm a hawk on China because eventually I believe that, if this regime is not confronted, bad things are going to happen, and I think they have to be confronted now. I think Turnbull has been way too much of an appeaser, and I think that's not going to turn out well. Australia is at the tip of the spear of this. Australian relations with China are strained at present, over Chinese irredentism in the South China Sea and its economic expansionism across the Pacific, over Australia's decision to bar Chinese telecommunication companies Huawei and ZTE from supplying equipment to Australia's 5G network, and over Australia's foreign interference laws, which are seen as targeting Chinese hard-right columnists with no mass audience, cause enough turmoil to ruin leaders. Jason Wilson. Read more. Bannon, who lost his job in the White House in the aftermath of the violent Charlottesville Unite the Right rally, said the U.S. president was trying to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S., and trying to reset this economy to the economy that we've had since the American system came up in the 19th century. Profile Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is a former White House strategist and chairman of Breitbart News who had a messy break with Trump, and with influential Republican donors, in early 2018. The immediate cause of the split was incendiary observations Bannon made to journalist Michael Wolff about Donald Trump Jr.'s Trump Tower meeting with Russian operatives. Bannon called the meeting treasonous and unpatriotic, Wolff reported, and Bannon concluded, "They're going to crack Don Jr. like an egg on national TV." Bannon's comments resulted in a subpoena from the special counsel and a date with congressional investigators. As a primary mover in the Trump campaign and White House insider, Bannon could have valuable information to share about the nature and intent of Trump's Russia contacts. But in his first meeting with the House Intelligence Committee in January 2018, Bannon declined to answer questions, in an extraordinary scene in which his lawyer consulted with the White House in real time and asserted executive privilege to escape replying. The move angered congressional investigators, who vowed to obtain Bannon's cooperation one way or another. By Tom McCarthy. Photograph, Carlo Allegri /X90181. Was this helpful? Thank you for your feedback. But the U.S. economy is moving in the opposite direction, and has been, for decades, transitioning from a manufacturing to a services economy. Services make up 80% of the economy in the U.S. Manufacturing represents about 10%. Bannon said the worldwide populist political surge, which has delivered results such as Brexit and Trump's election would continue and would gather strength in supporters of those disaffected by the current global economic and political order. This revolution is global, it's coming to Australia.